With Sportster S, we knew we could put the sport back in Sportster because it's time. We knew we had the engineering prowess to do it with the RevMax powertrain. The birth of this architecture, it's really knocked down a bunch of fences that we had. Kind of untied our hands in terms of what we can do with form factor, what we can do with performance. You put the right people in the room and you get the right feedback from the customers. You know, you get the right kind of technology and the right kind of thinking, the right kind of mindset. Keep the soul in all the decisions, and you get motorcycles like this that push all the boundaries and deliver that Harley Davidson experience.
Knowing that we had this opportunity to, think about, well, what is the next generation of Sportster like? Our designers, they go to work. They begin to create all kinds of, wild spectrums, from staying safe to the traditional to the extremes.
We wanted to make sure the first one was wild. It was going to kind of turn heads. We're going to challenge our internal standards. The design team just said, well, let's just turn the dials up to 11.
The design was intended to push the limits of what people think when they hear the term Sportster. How can we really push everything about this to be as irrational and cool as possible?
Anything that's easy isn't as rewarding. We had a lot of freedom. We knew there was nothing ever like it, so there was nothing that was constraining our imagination.
It's crazy to me, but of all the designs that we've worked on, this is one where there was the least amount of change from the design mock-up to the final production model.
I think when people take a look for the first time at Sportster S, while it's going to look very different, it's also going to look very familiar.
We wanted to stitch in some iconic elements of the design from different generations of Sportster. The tail section, XR750, the fat 16-inch front wheel, that's 48. If you look at what our customers do with Sportster, customization, you can have the same experience you've had with past Harley Davidsons in terms of making it your own. You can fully kit out the new RevMax family with all kinds of great parts and accessories.
For this bike to really find its way into the modern era, we really gave ourselves a ton of freedom with regards to technology. The ride modes are amazing. It totally changes the personality of the bike.
We have this really beautiful 4-inch round TFT display. It's Bluetooth enabled and allows for us to have turn-by-turn navigation and no longer having to worry about the traditional Sportster method of taping your directions to your tank and trying your best to remember how to get there. But it also has all the upgraded riding safety enhancements. Having cornering enhancement, ABS, allow for a better riding experience.
It's just like Sportster should be, and it's completely unlike any other Sportster you've ever ridden. This motorcycle rides exactly the way that it looks. It's such an exciting, thrilling motorcycle to ride. If the 57 Sportster was the giant killer, then this is an apex predator. I mean, this thing is the ultimate evolution of Sportster. This will surprise a lot of people out on the street at just how competitive this motorcycle is in some of these performance metrics.
It's just pissed off and ready to wreak havoc. Just an absolutely exhilarating feel.
We tuned the delivered performance to be more torque-based. So stoplight to stoplight, you're going to be able to crank it and beat your buddy to the next one.
There's just so much to unpack in terms of what the bike delivers from a performance standpoint. 121 horsepower,
94 foot-pounds of torque, 12-to-1 compression ratio, and a peak RPM of 9,500.
500 pounds, which feels just incredibly light, maneuverable on the road.
Every ounce of power is just a whole lot of fun.
The future for the Sportster family, it looks incredibly bright based on this motorcycle. And we've got some really cool things up our sleeves, we always do. There will be future models that will definitely tap into some of the more classic form factor of Sportster.
We're really not adding the next chapter to that story, but we're adding the first chapter to the next book.